Here is a picture of Secretary of Treasury Alexander Hampton, founder of the Revenue Cutter Service. The United States Coast Guard was founded on August 4th, 1790. It was founded by the late Secretary of Treasury Alexander Hamilton. The Coast Guard started with originally 10 cutter ships. On January 28, 1915, the late President Woodrow Wilson created the official U.S. Coast Guard by signing into law the act to create the Coast Guard. The U.S. Coast Guard today is a maritime military multi-purpose service that has the authority of law enforcement both in domestic and international waters. There were 5 ships stationed at the 2000 Coast Guard Festival, and these were 1 USCG Mackinac, 2 USCG Bristol Bay, 3 USCG Biscayne Bay, 4 USCG Alder, and 5 CCCG Constable Carrier. On today's show, we will be interviewing sailors from these 3 ships that are 1 USCG Bristol Bay, 2 USCG Alder, and 3 CCCG Constable Carrier. The Coast Guard's first cutter ship was the Vigilant, built in 1790.
And you're on.
So I'm Stephen Cosmo. I've been on the Coast Guard cutter Bristol Bay here for 2 months now, and it's been great. We've been doing a lot of PR events this summer, and this is actually our last stop, and then we go back and we're in what we call Charlie, which is just maintenance period for about 2 months until we start going and working buoys. And if you look around up here, this is our bridge. This is where we drive the boat, and where all that goes down.
So my name is Stephen Fossil from Seattle, Washington, and I work here on the Bristol Bay. You can usually find me here on the helm or down there on the buoy deck working with the buoys. If we're underway, we have nothing to do. I'm usually keeping the ship nice and pretty by painting it and cleaning it up. It's very much job here.
I love how much we love Shasta too.
Shasta? Yeah, that's pretty much it. Shasta. Can't say it regularly.
We didn't see us there walking over that bend yesterday and joking around about Shasta. We got one.
That's our charts. So we actually, every screen you see over here, when you turn them on, those are charts.
There's the wardroom behind us here. That's where officers and chiefs or higher ranking enlisted men will eat. Also, it's a place where meetings are held about updates and figuring out what the mission status is or what the mission is going to be, how we're doing seas. They have a lot of meetings in there. Also, we have boards there, which is basically just a test of how much you know your qualification, your training. Which brings me to this. Every person on board gets trained when they get here to get qualified as an import watchstander. And to be an import watchstander, you have to learn how to fight a fire on this boat. In case God forbid it happens, but we're all trained to fight fire on this boat. So this is, I wanted to show you guys all the stuff that's down. If you have any questions, ask. Let's see here. And yeah, so just kind of get into it a little bit. This mask right here, it's obviously it's just like you see in the movies. What they put on, kind of do. Cool things about this is this is right here. You hook this baby right here, then you put it in, and that's how you get your oxygen. Right here we have a voice amplifier, so you turn this on, and it actually amplifies voice to people around you. Obviously, it's good for communication purposes. Another thing about this is kind of cool. This right here. If you don't move it and it's turned on, it tells you how much oxygen you have, but if you don't move it like every 15 seconds, it'll start making like a beeping noise, right? And if you don't also move it after another like 20, 15 seconds after that, it will make a very much louder noise so everyone involved can hear it, right? So just in case you're trapped, you know, you're maybe passed out, something really wrong with the tank, people are going to hear exactly where you are, so it's pretty useful. And that's mostly it. Do you have any other questions?
My wife was in fire training out of Detroit.
Oh, really? That's actually where I both from.
I know.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
You heard about it.
Small world. Well, if you guys are ready, I'll send you guys the ECC back here.
How long can you fight a fire for?
What's up?
How long can you fight a fire for?
How long? Long that? How much oxygen you have? Aren't you trained? I thought you were qualified, man. Shock somebody? Alright, so yeah, you guys head down to the ECC. You guys just got down here though, right?
Yeah.
You guys want to sit tight or let it down? This is
Now we have another, see? All that's the fire layers. This is the oxygen so they can breathe the smoke. You're on.
So I'm DC2 Bush. This is Engineering Control Central. This is where the engineers stand watch. At any given point in time, we have 2 people on watch for 4 hours. All through the time that we're underway. We'll have an engineer of the watch who stands in here, an oiler who goes from space to space and puts eyes on every piece of equipment. These stainless steel boards right here, this is how we maintain and watch our main diesel engines. Our plant is diesel electric. What that means is that our main diesel engines are giant generators and they power the main motor back aft, which turns our propeller. For us that's good, because in the wintertime when we break ice, if we back down on some heavy ice and it stops the propeller, it just stops the motor and doesn't damage our mains. Those light gray panels over there, that's our power distribution for our smaller generators that maintains the power for lighting. Also maintains the power for our auxiliary systems and our hotel services. So that is everything.
The Canadian Coast Guard ship Constable Carrier. It is a patrol vessel between Canada and the United States that does law enforcement along the border on the Great Lakes. It's built for speed. It goes 25 knots top speed, which is 30 miles per hour. And it was built in 2013. There are 9 vessels like it that the Canadian government built in Halifax, Nova Scotia. And 5 of these vessels operate in law enforcement and border patrols between Canada and the United States on the Great Lakes. Right here. That's the ship wheel here. We have a bow thruster with this joystick. The throttles, twin prop, twin screw, diesel drive engines, 6,500 horsepower. And we can also steer with these, we call them jogs, that can move the rudders independently. I had to go to school for 4 years to get my navigation license to be a junior officer on this ship.
I'm a member of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, and our role in partnership with the Canadian Coast Guard, is border security. And because the Canadian Coast Guard doesn't have law enforcement authority, that's why we are on the ship. We partner with them. We use their expertise to take us on the ship where we need to go on the Great Lakes, on the border, and then we do the law enforcement. We work very closely with U.S. agencies as well. We work closely with the U.S. Coast Guard, with Border Patrol, all of the Homeland Security agencies as well. We do joint operations, we do information sharing, meetings back and forth as well. For the RCMP, our training academy in Regina is 6 months, and then you'll spend another 6 months in the field with a coach officer, and then you'll probably spend the rest of your career learning as well as you go from different jobs within the RCMP.
Higher than a man on a horse. And the reason why they say that is that if you're on a border native territory, I don't think customs duty going to the U.S. as long as I was still within their tribal border. Same thing coming back to Canada. But see, that's usually they get around it. They take their cigarettes.
So that's why we have to make sure we're taking care of our gear. The Coast Guard Cutter Alder can be underway for almost 6,000 miles. And we have a capability to have 77,000 gallons of diesel fuel on board. We can make our own water. We can store our own sewage. We do not pump sewage overboard on the Great Lakes due to the fact it's not allowed and it's fresh water. You get onto the actual ocean, you go 12 miles off and you can pump sewage over, but not on the Great Lakes. We also store our garbage until we get to the pier and then we offload it as a crew. Alright? Then, what else is up here? Oh, we also have our anchors up forward. If you happen to walk forward, you saw the massive anchors. They're 4,000 pounds apiece, and they also have 8 shots of chain on each one, which means that we can anchor in about 500 feet, give or take a couple of 50s. Alright, and yep, we work mostly in Lake Michigan, or Lake Superior, I mean, but we do work in Lake Michigan also. That's why we're over here and all that. Is there any questions? Oh, and one of our big workhorses of this boat is going to be our crane above our head. It is about, can lift 40,000 pounds. It's rated for more, but that's the same forge mode at 40,000. Alright? So what we're going to do is we're going to head to the fantail. Don't go up any more ladder wells besides this one, and once you get to the fantail at the back of the boat, you'll know it's there because you can't go any further. trying to be more savvy with our electronics and everything and get the best of the best as long as we can afford it. So what happens on here is we have a bow thruster, we also have a stern thruster. Then this is our throttle right here. The cruising speed of the Alder is about 13 knots, max speed is at 18 knots. And then our helm, the way we drive this entire boat, which was 200 gross tons, is this little guy. Right there, that's it. That's how we control it. And it's usually the junior ranking person who is actually driving. That is because we also have an underway OD who's up here, and he's in charge of the entire bridge while we're moving until he gets relieved either by the captain or another qualified OD. He's giving helmsman commands to that person, say, come right 10 degrees rudder or come left. That's pretty much how it is. It moves the rudder back and forth. That's all the helmsman will do. Then we can take all of this stuff that we just were talking about and combine it into this program. This is our DPS that takes control of our throttles and it takes control of our screw along with our two bow thrusters. And it allows us to work a ton in more situations where we want to be safer or hold position. Because when we are in season, it's rocking and turning, we don't really want to have a deck going up and down. We want to get as even as possible. So this will take into account and work. Then also it talks to our charting system. Our charting system has approved track lines from our CEO that we follow at all times. This system talks to that one and we can go into autopilot. And it will just follow that and the helmsman can just sit there and be a lookout. So that's what they do after we've thrown up control. You also have both bridge wings where you can drive the cutter. The reason we have two of them is say we're working on buoy either on our port side or starboard side. So, and then these two chairs here are for CO when he's up here. Any questions? And it's some standard stuff up here. We have our sonar and we also have our radar here. Then we have our watchdog program, which is this monitor right here. That can monitor all of our parameters on our, say, our engines. We have two of those, or our generators. We also have two of those. Or say our fireman kicks on randomly, the alarm will sound on here. Alright? So, that pretty much concludes our entire tour on the Alder. What's going to happen now is you're going to go down this ladder well. You'll take a left, and then you'll pass the stateroom, which will be our exos. Just take a small glance in. He might be working in there, so just be a little just respectful. And then you'll go down another ladder well. You'll come out, and you'll go left again, and you'll see some offices. They're kind of standard offices, nothing special. Then you'll see our ward room, which has a big wooden table in it where all the officers eat and they meet and they plan our operations on the cutter. So you can take a peek in there. There's a slideshow. It's entertaining stuff. And I'll bring up the rear. And if you have any more questions, feel free to ask. All right?
When you leave here, where you headed next?
Many times the Coast Guard ships were called for to fight against enemy ships as well. The next few pictures are scenes of some of those battles. And the journey continues.